Welcome back to my channel. It's Angela, and I'm trying to start catching up on some of the VRs that I've written down. I have this notebook that I started sort of, it's a journal. I've started sort of keeping track of stuff, and I've got a lot of hashtags in there, VRs in there to people, to other YouTubers, and I just have not done any of them because, as you know, the saga of my job continues every day. This past week has hit a kind of a pinnacle at my job because we are a month out from being a year since our other site closed and we took over all their work, and we are just now this past week, it is July 19th, 2025, today, Saturday. This past week, just now in the realm of catching up on the work since August of last year. We were always 2 days behind all of our work. Like, somebody would launch work, somebody launches the work every day, and then I would ship work, but it would be 2 days behind the stuff I would be shipping. That's how far it would be. When we took over Alameda's work in August of last year, we went from 2 days to 3 weeks out on everything, and we had to outsource some of our stuff. And now this past week, we're finally catching up to where we no longer have to outsource the work either, which is a huge burden lifted because the people that they hired to do the outsourcing and then bring it to me to send it out the door have no clue what they're doing. I've been arguing with them back and forth for the last 9 months. It's ridiculous. So we're finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, possibly, knock on wood, for my job, not having to stress. This is the first Saturday they have not asked anyone to work in almost a year. So I'm so excited. And I go in every day an hour and a half early. I work almost 10-hour days every single day. So will be relieved to only have to work 8 hours in a day. I mean, that's not there yet, but the fact that I no longer have to work on the weekend is a stress relief. So this hashtag was done several months ago, a year ago, I don't know, but it was by Waves of Your Soul. It is hashtag strangest decks, and I've been wanting to do it. Every time I see somebody's hashtag or hashtag they started, I'm like, ooh, I want to do that, and then I write it down and then I forget about it because, again, the saga of my life, my job it's all consuming, really. So I thought I would go ahead and start I did an earlier tag that I do every year. It's uploaded for summer decks. Now this one is called hashtag strangest decks. It is a VR to Waves of Your Soul. It's several months, even probably a year late, but here we are. So I have 10 decks. I had 11. One was an oracle. I can't find it. It's buried somewhere. But since I only had one oracle, I'm like, I'm going to leave it out and then maybe do this as an oracle at one point too. Like the top 10 strangest oracle decks I have. So this is only tarot right now. And over almost half of them are Los Scarabeo. And it's funny because I have another Los Scarabeo deck that I didn't know existed. I got for like $12 on Amazon the other day, out for delivery right now, by Amazon. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So, the first deck I thought of, and I've actually got it in a wrap here, Los Scarabeo deck. Yeah, half of these are Los. I think the rest of them are U.S. games, and then one indie. It is the Surrealist Tarot, and I think she included this in her video when she did it, however long ago it was. So Surrealist Tarot. Here's the backs. It's got that magnificent checkbox card stock they always have. Gorgeous. This is always the first deck I think of when I think of strange, because this is surrealist art. This is a gorgeous deck, though. I really love it. I've used the crap out of it. Again, I think part of why I'm realizing why I love Los Scarabeo decks so much is because they go outside the norm. That's probably why there's so many in this video that are strange decks that are Los Scarabeo, because they go outside the norm. This one is a really strange one. It hit the market hard. I think everybody had to have this deck. They either loved it or they hated it. And I freaking love it. 2 pieces. Used it for mediumship work. Mediumship. It works great for mediumship readings. And I love it to pieces. It's just strange and unusual. Look at the guy in the toilet. Like, come on. It's gorgeous. And I love it to pieces. So that's deck 1. That is the Surrealist Tarot by Los Scarabeo. Alright, we're going to go right into the next one. And I've got these in a specific order written down. I made a pouch for this based on, oh my god, what's her channel? Chanel Day's channel. She actually did a video a couple years back, and I actually made it longer to make it a wrap so I could have a reading right here. For this deck, this is the Lorenzi Tarot. This is a US Games deck. It's got the thicker, it's a bigger than normal tarot size. It's got the nice buttery cardstock. Let me see if I can pull it out a little bit. This deck is super weird. I thought of this deck as like a pre-creation deck, like the powers that be, the universe when they created the universe and all the animals and people. This is kind of the process, the peek behind the curtain, if you will, kind of deck to see how those things were done. And I wanted to deep dive into this. I just have not ever dove into this yet. There's a lot of snakes in the wands, and it really creeps me out. So I think that's part of why I've never deep dived into this deck. I do love the, and I haven't found it, I do love the concept. That's, again, my opinion. There's snakes there, freaking me out. Look at that tower, gorgeous. And look, they have wings. They're all like angels. I love the hermit in this. It says sailor. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I love the strength card. I love the thought that this is like a pre-creation kind of deck. Not that that's what it is. It's just how I think about it. I love this Queen of Swords. I love this Death card. I actually need to put that on my list for favorite Death cards. I love this Magician. Looking for him. That guy. We already saw the Devil. We saw all these. I love that one. Oh my gosh. Love that. Justice. Love that guy. There he is. Love that, the Hermit. He's pretty cool. Anyway, that is the Lorenzi Tarot. I've just never deep dove into this like I thought I would. I think I'm a little scared of it. Truly, that's why. But that is the Lorenzi Tarot. It's a US Games deck. Next is, right along with it, the Dreamscapes Tarot. This is a US Games deck as well. It's also weird. If you have issues with this deck, the book alone is worth every penny. I love this book. I love the cardstock. It's the same cardstock as the deck we just looked at. I love the backs. It is a little bit smaller cards than the one I just showed you. My camera's messing up. It is weird and strange. Very weird and strange. Now, I got decks that kind of mimic this in a way, and I could do that if you guys want me to do decks like, this could be my next video on the little series I started of decks that remind me of, because this is the first deck I bought. I love this Temperance card, where, we're at 9 minutes in. I'm like, how are we 19 minutes in? But we're only 9 minutes in. Where I have other decks that remind me of this deck, and I almost didn't buy those other decks because I'm like, I have the Dreamscapes, I never use it. But I do have more decks that remind me of this deck. They're just not as outlandish as this one is. Not as out there to me. Look at that, the Devil. Look at the Queen of Cups with the Moon for a head. It's weird. Yeah. I love that. The Lovers. So that is the Dreamscapes Tarot. It was an indie deck and came out mass market a few years ago. And I had to have it. And I use it just not as often as I thought I would. Because I use it more for dream interpretation stuff than anything. Okay. That was deck 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Let me get rid of the ones I've already used. Deck 4. Another Lo Scarabeo deck. The Tarot of the Sweet Twilight. I've had this forever. I hated this deck. It's got the beautiful cardstock on it that we all know and love from their Tuck Box. I did edge it in black because I thought the edges were black, but it turns out they were dark blue because I'm colorblind apparently. Something drew me to this deck that I was like, I don't want to buy it, but I bought it. It like made me buy it. And then I think right before I bought this, I had split with my best friend of 15 years. And this deck in every way, shape, or form reminded me of her. And I'm like, did I buy it just to torture myself? Like, why? Every part of this deck reminds me of her. And I did not touch this deck for a long time. In fact, I grew to hate this deck because it reminded me so much of what I had lost. And this year, actually a couple weeks ago, I used this deck and it was a completely different experience. And I'm like, okay, I get it now. I don't quite get the whole gist of why I had to have it then, but every deck I've learned, every deck in my collection has come into my collection for a reason. And this is just waiting its turn. Honestly. I don't hate it now, but we're still indifferent to each other. I mean, it'll give me a reading, but I had a lot of overcoming to do to get through to this deck. Anyway, that's the Tarot Sweet Twilight. Weird and strange. Anyway, next is my one indie deck. I made a pouch for it. I've got a little button for it. It is the Triumphi Della Luna Illustrated Pips edition. And I don't know if it's this edition or the regular Triumphi Della Luna. The original is coming out mass market in a couple months. I think it's the day before my birthday, September 1st, I think. Backs, but this is the indie version of the Illustrated Pips edition. I could not throw a, oh my god, what's his name? Oh my god, what's his name? Patrick Valenza deck. I could not throw a Patrick Valenza deck in this VR. Like, I couldn't. So this was the first deck I thought of his. I do have the Deviant Moon. I don't hardly use it. I'd rather use this one. I do have the rose version of the Triumph Della Luna, not Illustrated Pips edition, the Marseille version, full Marseille version. And I actually got his last one of that, and it's got a full collection with it of Oracle cards. It was a pretty penny because it was his last one that he had, and it was like all the extras. And then I, of course, backed this as soon as I saw it. I'm like, I need this in my life. And it's so weird and strange. I love the world that he lives in or brings you into with this deck. I really, not even just this deck, like his world. You're seeing this world that he has created, and I love that. Look at that Judgment. Love it. And I love the thought of different worlds. I love that Hermit. Love the thought of different. Yeah, there's like 30 devils, and these are all the extra devils right here and the extras cards in there. So I'll leave that out. Why is that turned around? Okay. Oh, that's an extra card. Okay, I got it. That's an extra. That's for the Oracle deck. I don't know if that's ever came out or not. Has it? Y'all let me know, because I don't remember it ever seeing it come out. That's the an Oracle card that came out for the Oracle deck. Anyway, that was the Triumph Della Luna. That was deck 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Deck 5. I'm going to put it back in its package. We're 15 minutes in, so I got 4 decks left. Let me see, my music went off too. That was weird. Alright, 4 decks left. We got, next is the Low Scarabeo. It's the mini Night Sun Tarot. The next 3 decks are all Low Scarabeo, and they are all minis. And I can tell you right now, I'm glad I only have a mini, because I would be terrified if they were a full size, because they are creepy AF. This is the Night Sun Tarot. Probably the creepiest deck I have in my collection. Let's see if I can go down there. Down. Here we go. There we are. Everybody's got swords in them. It's kind of a Pippish deck, too. I think this one's a Thoth-based. That's just creepy. That's death. Look at that. Feels like you're on some kind of Mad Max world. It's very weird. Very creepy. Very strange. A lot of people have swords and nails and stuff through their face, and it hurts. This deck hurts. It's creepy, and I bought it out of curiosity, honestly, and then I realized it was a creepy AF deck. I think some of it's cute. I do like that it's a Pip deck. I could not imagine it being a full, not Pip. Like, it's creepy. Creepy. I've had a couple readings with this, a few. It just creeps me the F out. So, yeah, I've talked about it before, the movie with Ice Cube, Ghost of Mars. This is that deck. If a movie was a tarot deck, this deck would be Ghost of Mars. For real. It's creepy AF. But that is the Night Sun Tarot by Fabio Listrani. It is the Low Scarabeo mini deck. Next we have the Nicoletta Ciccoli Tarot, also a Low Scarabeo deck. I'm, again, glad I don't have the full size, because it would be creepy. Really creepy. Let me see here. So this is the backs. Everybody's seen this deck. It's just all these weird dolls that have weird situations happening. And it's creepy. I have learned to tolerate this deck. I found out why. Why does it seem so loud? No, it's because it is loud. I found out why I have this deck and why I bought this deck. Again, it was a curiosity thing. But curiosity in a way that, especially with this card. You know how if you've had some bad things happening to you in your childhood, and as an adult you don't want to face those situations, but you remember the situations, but you don't want to face them. This deck makes me face them, which is why I was like, yeah, what's happening? So that's why I didn't like this deck at first at all, in any way, shape, or form. But I've grown to tolerate it, because I realize it's for other things also, other than a childhood trauma deck, because I did a whole reading about it, about my ex, and I think that's really his deck. Okay, then we have the Solabusca Tarot mini. I don't know. Again, it was a curiosity thing. I was like, oh, it comes out in a mini. I'll see if I can get on with it as a mini. This deck is creepy. There's the backs. There's the fronts. I like this coloration and this old style, ancient feel. But there's some scenes in it, and it's very pippy. Oh, look, there's the extra card. Some scenes it's very peppy, but some scenes just really are cringeworthy to me, and I don't know why. Cringeworthy. I've got so many other decks that I've already shown you that are not cringeworthy, but this one cringes me out, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. Yeah, if you guys know, let me know, because I don't have any clue why this makes me cringe. It just really does make me cringe. And it's weird that it makes me cringe. And we got that guy. Don't know, maybe it's the coloration. I don't know. It feels like my very first deck was a RWS, an RWS deck. And that feels like this energy, the same kind of cringy, like, energy, and I don't know why. Two decks left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So I don't know where I lost, but now we have the Hush Tarot, and I've got Barely Time. Everybody's seen this deck. It's different. It's a US Games deck. There's the backs. It's gorgeous. It's just different than anything that I have in my collection. Very different. And everybody's seen this deck, so I'm not going to belabor it too much. But it's gorgeous, but at the same time, there is an ick factor there. Like that. I can't stand snakes. But it's so gorgeous. I love the artwork. Love the artwork in it. Super stunning. So that is the Hush Tarot by US Games. It's US Games and Los Scarabeo that give me the creeps, I guess. I don't know. It's like a roller coaster ride that you know you're going to scream on, but you get on it anyway. Last but not least, deck number 10, we have the Omega Land Tarot. This is a tarot deck and card game. It is also a US Games deck. So they're all been US Games or Los Scarabeo. And then I had the one indie deck in here. Real quick before I run out of time. Here's the backs. This deck is really, literally like pre-apocalyptic, people getting ready for the apocalypse kind of situation, or the apocalypse is actually happening. Look at all the bloody, yeah. And I don't know why this doesn't creep me out. It makes me giggle. Like, maybe I have a warped sense of humor. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're more cartoony. I don't know. But this deck makes me laugh so hard. And I'm like, why? But it is a weird, strange deck. Because it also is a game. You don't have to use it for tarot. You can use it for a game. I've never thought about the game. But, yeah. And then you got people like killing each other and all kinds of weird stuff in here. Yeah, like this, yeah. The scene that's happening is like, what? Yeah, look, he's dreaming of his crossbow. Wow. Anyway, yeah, this deck is really weird, but it makes me laugh. I don't know why. I don't get it. I'm weird. Anyway, that's all the decks I got to show you guys. That is my strangest decks. My top 10 strangest tarot. If you want to see top 10 strangest, oh my gosh, oracles, let me know. I don't know if I can round up 10, but I'll get the closest to 10 I can find. But that's all I got. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, don't hesitate to comment below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button so you're alerted to any future videos. And y'all have a good afternoon.